And good evening, everyone, and welcome into the UFC Fight Cards podcast presented by Orange Fire Media. I am your host, Russ Renault. Thanks for joining us here on another Sunday night as we look back at last night's UFC event from San Antonio and we get into opening our box of hobby cards this week. We'll take a look at that right there. We've got the Topps UFC 2020, a hobby box, and we'll be getting into that later on. And if you're new to the show, just want to welcome you in for the first time. Appreciate you joining us here. It's a great show, and we hope that it gets better and better and better as we go along. Just started about 2 months ago, so this is episode number 9, and just can't thank you enough for supporting us. So just tell you a little bit about what we do here. We talk about fights, and then we open cards. That's basically it. So, you know, this has been a lot of fun, and just tell everybody that you can where to find us here on YouTube and also on all the audio podcast platforms as well. So we get into the event at the AT&T Center at San Antonio last night, and the main event with Corey Sandhagen against Marlon Chito Vera, a bantamweight matchup, 2 top 5 guys, and it was a really good fight, but Sandhagen coming out with a split decision, very controversial split decision at that. And Sandhagen looked like he dominated the fight, but one of the judges thought that Chito won the fight. And Dana White had something to say about that afterwards as well. But Sandhagen definitely got the victory. At least it goes down as a victory for him, and there's no robbery there. But, I was cheering for Chito, but Sandhagen got it done. And there's no question about it. I know that Chito probably won round 3, but I think that's as far as I can go. I think that's the only round that Chito took in that fight. So controversial with that one scorecard, but Sandhagen delivering with a victory and putting himself in that title picture for the bantamweight crown. Also, the co-main event last night, women's bantamweight division, and third-ranked Holly Holm, the former champion, defeating Yana Santos, a unanimous decision, dominated the fight, dominated the scorecards, no question there that Holly got it done. And also the night before, it was announced that Holly Holm, at 41 years old, has signed a 6-fight contract, a new contract for Holly Holm, so we'll be seeing her for a long time. She could be 44, 45 years old, still doing it in the women's bantamweight division. She wants to be the champion again. She said, why would you do this if you don't want to be the champion? So that is her goal, is to get back to a matchup with Amanda Nunes and see where that goes. So we'll be looking forward to that as we go along. If you're a fan of the show, if you're joining us here tonight, you can drop in the chat. Tell us who you collect. Love to hear from you. Just use that chat box. I'll see it. And we can talk about whatever you want to talk about, because what I'm going to talk about, we're just going to go through what happened last night and then look ahead to the schedule coming up. I know that if you're a fan of the show, you've been here before, you know that that I'm a fan of Haley Cowan, and that she was taken off of this card. It wasn't her injury this time, it was her opponent. So that fight was canceled, and now Haley Cowan just announced today that she's going to be back in action, and we'll talk about that a little bit later as we go down in the new fights that have been announced. But taken off that card, unable to perform in front of kind of a hometown crowd. Haley from Waco, Texas, and she went to Baylor University just like I did. So that's why I'm behind Haley all the way, and just really love to see somebody from Baylor, the first fighter from Baylor University from the Central Texas area, to make it into the UFC. And so really looking forward to that debut. We'll have it coming up when we talk about the schedule as we go on. So also on the card last night, Nate Landwehr getting a submission of Alex Caceres, so picking up a nice win there in the featherweight division. And also in a women's flyweight division matchup, had a top 15 matchup between number 10 Andrea Lee and number 12 Macy Barber. And there's some controversy behind that decision as well, with Macy Barber getting the split decision. And I like to give the judges the benefit of the doubt. So because that's their job. They've been doing a lot longer than I could or would. So the one thing I can say about the Macy Barber decision was, yes, Andrea Lee got some takedowns, but what do you do when you get those takedowns? And Andrea Lee, I guess the judges felt that she didn't do enough when she had those takedowns and had Macy on her back. And Macy was actually landing some shots from her back. So in the stand-up, it was clear cut that Macy Barber was the better fighter on the feet. And I think that's why she came away with the decision. I think that's a lot of the times of why fighters come away with the decision. I know that a lot of veteran UFC analysts, which I'm not going to claim to be one, but since we're talking about it on the show, what we will talk about, and I'll just kind of give my 2 cents. But there's fighters and former fighters that are way better at this than I am. But they think that the judges, I'm talking about the veteran fighters and the former fighters, that they think that the judges judge it like a boxing match. And so that you see the striking and they don't put as much weight into the grappling, the wrestling. And so you can see decisions like this. And, the veterans also tell you that this is why you don't let it go to the judges' scorecards. You want to get a finish because anything can happen. And really close, razor-thin rounds can go either way, and then you leave it into the hands of the judges. And you saw, I guess you could look at the Chito Vera scorecard and say, okay, this is a really, really, really close round, and give him 3 of them. But I don't think a lot of people would, but they did. And somebody, did that with Alexander Volkanovski. The same thing, that you look at it and you think that Makhachev won the fight, but then you judge it round by round by round, and you just start splitting hairs. And then the decision could get pretty close. So you don't want to leave it in the judge's hands. And that last night is a really good example of why. So before we get to the rest of the schedule, I think that's about all from last night. I don't like to go through the whole card because the star of the show is these cards, and we're going to get to this box tonight as quickly as we can. So I'm not going to spend a lot more time on last night's card. We'll kind of talk about it as we go along if we get that chance. Do want to mention that there is no card next week. The UFC taking a weekend off. So the next time that the UFC will be in action will be on April 8th in Miami for UFC 287. So that main event features the middleweight champion Alex Pereira against the former champion, #1 contender Israel Adesanya. The rematch in the UFC, but this will be the 4th time that those two are fighting each other overall in mixed martial arts. You also got a great co-main event, a top 15 matchup in the welterweight division with #5 Gilbert Burns taking on #11 Jorge Masvidal, and we'll see who can put themselves into contention for a fight down the line with the welterweight champion. Right now, that's Leon Edwards, and who knows down the road what that looks like. Dana White has said that Colby Covington is up next. Leon doesn't want that. He probably wants the winner of this fight or Bilal Muhammad. Bilal Muhammad feels like he has earned that shot. Gilbert Burns and Jorge Masvidal, the winner of that fight would certainly have a claim to facing Edwards. And I think everybody, the fan choice, would be for Masvidal to take care of business against Burns. And I think that would be the no-brainer just because of the history between those two. So also on that card, Kevin Holland against Santiago Ponzinibbio. Got Raul Rosas Jr., the 18-year-old, back in action again against Christian Rodriguez. And rounding out the main card, a top 15 bantamweight matchup between Rob Font and Adrian Yanez. Also a pretty good prelim card. It is a really good card for UFC 287. In the middleweight division, another top 15 matchup, Kelvin Gastelum against Chris Curtis. In the welterweight division, Michael Chiesa against Li Zhanglang. And also, we like to talk about the top 15 matchups here, just to highlight what is on the card. And so that's 8 fights right there. And another one in the women's strawweight division. Number 10, Michelle Waterson Gomez against number 14, Luana Pinheiro. So shaping up to be a great card for UFC 287. That is on April 8th in Miami. So just to go down some of the fights that have been added recently, I'm not going to go through all the upcoming fights in the schedule. I like to talk about the fights that have been added in the past week. And I talked about the Haley Cowan fight. That one was just announced today that she will be taking on Jamie Lynn Horth in the women's bantamweight division. And so those two will be making their UFC debut, and that is for UFC Vegas 72. That is April 29th. That is in Las Vegas, I believe. Probably going to be at the Apex. So we'll keep you posted on the schedule coming up. So we've got some main events coming up with Max Holloway taking on Arnold Allen. And then that is on April 15th in Kansas City. Fight night, April 27th, April 22nd, Sergey Pavlovich and Curtis Blades in number 3 and number 4 in the heavyweight division going at it. And then we've got UFC 288, May 6th in Newark, New Jersey. Aljamain Sterling and Henry Cejudo for the bantamweight title. And then we'll get on to some of the other action as we go along. Want to point out there was one matchup that in the works, the rumor that Cody Garbrandt and Dominic Cruz will be facing off for the second time in July. So that's something to look forward to down the line in the bantamweight division. So now is time on the show where we talk about cards. We talk about the UFC card hobby, and just thanks everybody for dropping by tonight as we get ready to get into this box of 2020 Topps. It is a hobby box, so going to have some guaranteed autographs in there. So looking forward to opening up the 2023 Prism when that comes out later on in April. Right now it's slated to come out on April 28th. Hobby boxes will be on sale. Looking at about $300 a piece right now. 12 cards per pack, 12 packs, 2 autographs, 22 parallels, 12 inserts. There's also going to be an undercard edition. That's kind of like the H2 that they do with Select, but this is 9 cards per pack, 10 packs, about $200 a piece, and they come out on May 10th. There's 1 autograph on average, 18 inserts or parallels, and 1 base variation. So that'll be interesting to see the undercard, and then obviously the retail that comes out after that, and usually those are, you know, $25-30 at Target and Walmart. So looking forward to getting as much Prism as I can, and I do like to make this disclaimer that anything on the show is for sale, and that everything here in the first year that is bought on the show will go back into buying cards. That we want to buy as much Prism as we can. So if you see something you like, please let me know. My email address is russ, at orange-fire.com. You can find me on Twitter at FightCardsRuss or at OrangeFireMedia. You can also find me on Facebook. My name, Russ Renault, Reneau, or Orange Fire Media. Both of those pages you can get a hold of me. So, as I said, just make an offer. You can drop it in the chat, however you want to find me. You know, everything that we do on the show here for the first year is all going to go back into buying cards. And who knows, beyond that, we'll also do it. The other thing that I want to do before we get into opening cards and showing you some of the things that we've had going on the last couple of weeks, I do like to get to the hobby top 5. That's a segment that we came up with here on the show where we talk about the top 5 fighters as far as the hobby is concerned. That's not necessarily the top 5 pound for pound fighters. This is the top 5 fighters that people are collecting right now. People are looking for, that people are always asking about. If you have any cards, you usually see these names pop up. And we haven't had a change here lately, nothing to shake up that top 5. So we're going to stick with the same ones that we've had the last couple of weeks. And we're looking forward to 2023 Prism coming out to shake that up a little bit, because none of the results have been able to do that yet. So start with number 5, and a legend, not in action right now, Khabib Nurmagomedov. It comes in at number 5, and that is because Khabib is in every product, and he has autographs and inserts, and so you see a lot of Khabib, and so his prices still demand quite a price, so he's going to stick there at number 5. Number 4 is Islam Makhachev. No explanation needed for any of these in the top 4. So number 3 is Sean O'Malley. Number 2 is Khamzat Chimaev. And number 1 for the 3rd straight week is Shavkat Rakhmonov. So when you see people asking about cards, stuff that they're wanting to buy, those are the names you see. Definitely those top 4 right now. And Habib kind of gets the nod just because people are still really interested in him, and it's going to take somebody coming up in the 2023 product to knock him out of there, which I'm sure they will, but we got to give Habib his nod right now for still being a hot product in the hobby. I do want to tell you that while we're opening this box of 2020 Topps tonight, next week, even though there's no UFC card, that we will be opening this box of 2015 Topps Chronicles. So looking forward to that. Join us next week. If you subscribe, you'll never miss a show. You'll be alerted when there's a show, and also you'll be entered into our card giveaways, which I'm really excited about, and haven't been able to give them away yet. Kind of looking forward to getting 100 subscribers, and that's when we'll do that. So if we can get that number up to 100, we're going to give some cards away, because I've added 2 more lots to our card giveaways. It was 5 last week. It's now 7. After we went through that box of Prism, I made the decision that we're going to add 2 more fighters to it. So I'm going to show you all those here in just a second. So we have 7 lots. And we're going to start off with John Jones, and all of these have a numbered card in them. That's why I want to give these away, make them an attractive lot and stuff that people want. Tell your friends about it. This is a great place to come and talk about UFC cards. We want this to be a great place that's family friendly, that kids are getting involved in the hobby, that this is a place they can come and learn about cards, learn about collecting, learn about grading their cards, how to protect their cards, whatever questions you have. Drop them in the chat and let me know, and we'll answer them the best that we can. So let's start off with the first lot that we have. And we're going to start off with the GOAT, John Jones. And this is a Phoenix card, number to 199, but this is a huge lot of John Jones cards. So you get that numbered card plus all of these. Go to My House Color. So we finished off these lots after we went through the Prism last week. We'll show you kind of what we've pulled the last couple of weeks. So here's lot number 2, Jan Blachowicz. That's an of 99 there on top in the Chronicles Black. Just some other cards added in to that Jan Blachowicz lot. And before, we'll get to the new ones last. But Robert Whitaker, that Phoenix, just like the John Jones. See all those Robert Whitaker cards, even a 2021 Prism thrown in there. Big winner last week, we'll give him away, Justin Gaethje. That one's numbered to 199. Little silver Prism thrown in there. Another silver Prism Optic. So good little Justin Gaethje lot. A winner from last night, right there, Holly Holm. You've got a 39 of 99 right there on top, Chronicles Elite. So big Holly Holm lot. So the John Jones and Holly Holm have a bunch of cards in this lot. And then our 2 new ones. Let's get to the 2 new ones. Let's start with Miesha Tate first. So Miesha Tate, beautiful looking cards. I love the Origin cards this year. They just look awesome. And you've got the red, number 8 of 199. Then all the Miesha Tate cards after that. And, you know, all of these are former champions, interim champions, top 3 contenders. So, and then former champion Glover Teixeira. Pulled out a Prism Red last week. That's numbered to 299. Got the great looking Origins card. Got a Stargazing Prism from Optic. Just a bunch of good Glover cards. So those are the 7 lots we're going to be giving away, but you have to be a subscriber to get those. So John Jones, Jan Blachowicz, Glover Teixeira, Miesha Tate, Robert Whitaker, Justin Gaethje, and Holly Holm. Big lots, and we hope that we get these numbers up, we get to 100 subscribers, and we can start giving stuff away to everybody out there listening to us. So I really appreciate it, and just want to say thanks to all the people that support me by giving back, and that we'll put all the rest of it into getting cards for us to open again here on the show. So once again, thanks, and tell everybody to subscribe, hit that button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, leave a review. If you're listening to audio only, you can leave a review there. And if you hear something on the show that you think you like, then go back and watch it on YouTube, look at it yourself, because we'll go through every card. We'll name every card. I won't skip over anything, just so you can hear it and you can go back later and see it. If that's something you're interested in, then get in touch with me. And I've told you all the ways to get in touch with the show, and that'll all be in the description. And the main one's Russ at orange-fire.com is the email address, or our Twitter handles at FightCardsRuss and at OrangeFireMedia. So now it is time to get into our box of Topps UFC 2020. It's a hobby box. I like to get the gloves on so we protect these cards as best as we can. We'll top load any numbered cards, anything that sticks out. Definitely, hopefully, with those 2 autograph cards, we hope, because they put on average on there, so don't want to jinx anything. It'd be interesting, though, to go back a little bit, go back 3 years and see what was hot in 2020. We'll really go back on that box of 2015 Chronicles next week. Then we'll see what we do after that. Kind of anticipating that Prism release, so don't really know what I'm going to do to fill in. I do have my lot box, and actually I know that I'm going to pause here for a second before we get to this box, because there is one other thing that I wanted to do before we get into that. I do want to show you some of the cards that we've pulled here over the last couple of weeks, because we opened a box of Prism last week, a hobby box of 2022 Prism, and we've opened 2 boxes of Immaculate. So I want to show you what we pulled out of those. So let's start with the best pull that we've had here on the show so far. And it's this Henry Cejudo Immaculate Jumbo Memorabilia. You got the middle part of the UFC logo in there on the walkout pants. And that is numbered 3 of 4. That is the best one that we've pulled on the show so far. And I'm going to show you the best ones that we've pulled. This would be the top 6. And here's one from last week. Here's the best one from last week. The Alexander Volkanovski Flashback Gold. That is number 9 of 10. So we got this whole lot of Alexander Volkanovski. And with that Flashback Gold numbered to 10 on top. Also got another gold that we pulled a couple weeks ago. Immaculate All-Time Greats autograph, Mark Coleman, number 4 of 10. So another good one there. Got 6 of these that we want to show. Got the Zhang Wei Li from Immaculate. And the Moments at 39 of 99. Also pulled a Silver Prism last week. That Zhang Wei Li lot is available. I also want to show you one of the better base cards that we pulled from Immaculate. The best base card we pulled, actually. It's a red Yuri Prochazka, 20 of 25. Also got a Hyper Prism last week when we opened that box. Then one more lot to go. This was highlight from last week. The Valentina Shevchenko Champion autograph. And as I said last week, Valentina has the best autograph in the UFC. So to pull one of those is always special, just because that Bullet V, just a great signature. And then we also pulled this from the Optic a few weeks ago. The Pink Velocity numbered to 79. So good looking card there. And a couple of Silver Prisms. So a good Valentina lot. Really good stuff that's all available to you. Okay, so now here's what you came for. I'll quit going on about that. So here we go. 2020 UFC Topps UFC, the hobby box. See a young-looking Stipe, young-looking Kamaru Usman, young-looking Amanda Nunes, and a younger-looking John Jones there on the box. So this might take a while. A few more packs in here. There's 10 cards in each of these packs. So I am going to make room, so just hang with me here for a second. Let me get our lots out of the way that we're giving away. Definitely want to take care of those as well as we can so that whoever wins these, later on we do the giveaway, that those are all taken care of. Last but not least, John Jones. Back in the box, so those are going to be given away, just to remind you. I haven't done it enough already. So, here we go. Keep these sleeves and top loaders close in case we need them. So this is interesting. It's going back a little ways for me. So here are the base cards. Jack Hermanson, Rachel Ostovich, Tony Ferguson. Let's flip them over this way. Arnold Allen, Kevin Lee. Oh, there we got an auto right out of the box. First pack. Ryan Hall, 50 of 50. That's a handwritten 50 of 50. Ryan Hall. So let's make sure that we put that away. I'll work on getting some stands so that we can put these up in the background so you can see what we pulled. So I guess that in this edition, I don't have any Topps 2020 prior to this, so no boxes that I've opened anyway. There are a couple of fighters that I do collect that were in this product, but I guess these weren't serial numbered on the autographs, that they actually numbered them by hand. So the Ryan Hall autograph in our very first pack. So let's finish going through these. We'll come back and look at the hits later. Kelvin Gastelum, Piotr Jan, Future Stars, Edmund Shavazian, and Henry Cejudo highlight reel. Not as flashy as they are now. A lot more color to the cards now. Irina Aldana, Valentina Shevchenko, we just saw in our lot. Jorge Masvidal, Darren Till, Volkan Ozdemir, Amanda Nunes. It's a chrome right there. Save that for my buddy Emmanuel Robles. Picking up an Amanda Nunes. Then a Stipe Miocic highlight reel. And Zhang Wei Li. And winner from last night, Macy Barber. That's a Future Stars card. Vicente Luque. And back to the beginning with Irene Aldana. So we'll protect this one for Emmanuel. packs are a little bit harder to get into than the Panini products. Okay, here we go. Jessica I. Song Yadong. Israel Adesanya highlight reel. And going to be inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame, announced last night, Donald Cowboy Cerrone. Decades Next, Macy Barber. The second Macy Barber card that we've seen. Tyron Woodley. It's interesting to see some of the fighters that, some of the legends from, not so much legends, but just, title contenders from back then, and seeing how people look. Just 3 years ago, Volk with a head of hair right there. Alexander Volkanovski, Thiago Santos, Walt Harris, and Aspen Ladd. So you see some people who aren't even in the promotion anymore, quite a few. Like I said, if you have anything you want to add in the chat, please let me know. Anything you see that you want, let me know. Another Rachel Ostovich. Tony Ferguson. It's almost the same pack. Arnold Allen, Kevin Lee. And the Alexander Volkanovski, the insert in this pack. Kaikara France. Another Kelvin Gastelum. Another Piotr Jan, Future Stars, Edmund Shabazian, and Henry Cejudo highlight reel. Apologize for the fans on the audio-only broadcast as we open the packs. I know it's not always the most fun to listen to packs opening. So the Henry Cejudo, Roxanne Modafferi, Khalil Roundtree Jr., Conor McGregor, Robert Whittaker, Lauren Murphy, Jared Cannonier, Uriah Hall, Elir Latifi, Claudia Gadelia, back to Henry Cejudo, so no inserts in that one. Here we go. Alistair Overeem, Holly Holm, Kamaru Usman, Ian Heinisch. Got the Alistair Overeem insert. Jeff Neal. Zhang Wei Li highlight reel. Justin Gaethje. Joseph Benavidez. Calvin Kattar, and back to Alistair Overeem. Go. Max Holloway, Leon Edwards, now the welterweight champion, Anthony Smith, Vivian Araujo, Marion Renault. Love picking those up. Obviously, the only fighter I know with my last name. I've actually got one of Marion's warm-up tops from her stash. So I have that hanging on my chair. Daniel Cormier, picking up an insert there with some color. Nothing numbered. Dominic Reyes. Keep that DC there. Habib Nurmagomedov, number 5 on our hobby top 5. Robbie Lawler, Francis Ngannou, and back to the beginning with Max Holloway. So I do keep fighter lots. I do keep them in order by fighter, and so I do have some pretty big lots. So if you're looking for someone in particular, let me know. I can let you know what I have. I do collect Marion Renault cards. It's just, interesting thing. And it's not the most common last name, so I like to keep track of those. Johnny Walker, Future Stars, Caitlin Chukagian, Damian Maia, Stipe Miocic. And that's a throwback to the 1985 Topps look in the baseball cards. Jimmy Rivera, Gokhan Saki, Future Stars, Jeremy Stevens, Kamaru Usman, highlight reel, Megan Anderson, the featherweight card there, the rare women's featherweight, Jessica Andrade, and back to Johnny Walker. As I said, we're filling in tonight with some 2020 product, some Topps. And next week, just as we anticipate that release of the 2023 Prism coming up, here's Jessica I, Song Yadong, Israel Adesanya highlight reel, Donald Cowboy Cerrone, Henry Cejudo, Corey Anderson, Alexander Volkanovski, Thiago Santos, Walt Harris, Aspen Ladd, and back to Jessica I. So that first pack, we hit an auto right out of the first pack. Haven't seen the other one since. We'll go back through anything that we pull. Roxanne Modafferi, Khalil Roundtree Jr., Conor McGregor, Robert Whittaker. I'm going through these pretty fast because we've already seen all of those. Jermaine Nerodamy, Warren Murphy, Jared Cannonier, Uriah Hall, Hilaire Latifi, Claudia Gadelia. So, seen most of those in that pack. Let's finish off these two first. Alistair Overeem, Holly Holm, Kamaru Usman, Ian Heinisch, Max Holloway. Oh, they've got a combo auto. Amanda Nunes, Lena Landsberg, who just retired a couple of weeks ago, 5 of 25. Dual auto on this one. So there we go, and that is a good looking card. 2 great signatures on that one. So Amanda Nunes and Lena Landsberg, 5 of 25. So got both of our autos out of the way. If we get any more, then that's just bonus. So see if we get anything else that's numbered. Jeff Neal, Zhang Wei Li, Justin Gaethje, Joseph Benavidez, back to the beginning with Alistair Overeem. One more on this stack. So we're about halfway done. You take a risk on these older boxes with the redemption cards, so looks like we avoided those. Leon Edwards, Anthony Smith, Vivian Araujo, another Marion Renault. Oh, there we go. The John Jones in the 1985 baseball style. Calvin Cater, Dominic Reyes, Habib, Robbie Lawler, Francis Ngannou. Back to the champ Leon Edwards. All right, so we're halfway done. Let me take a little sip here. Yeah, you feel like a Topps product should have some gum in it. Okay, Johnny Walker, Caitlin Chukagian, Damian Maya, Stipe Miocic, Daniel Cormier, Dominic Reyes, the color there. Gokhan Sakai, Jeremy Stevens, Kamaru Usman, another Megan Anderson, and Johnny Walker on top. Thanks for joining us tonight. Drop me a line. Use the chat box. If you see anything you like, Russ at orange-fire.com. The Brian Ortega, Paulo Costa. Seeing some different ones in this pack. Ketlin Vieira, Gron Gracie, Jillian Robertson, Decades Next, Jessica Andrade, Corey Anderson, Juliana Pena, Antonina Shevchenko, and Dan Hooker. It'd be really interesting once we get into the 2015 tops to see, you know, who were the big names back then, and just to see all the names that come out of that on that box. See up there just above my hands, Ronda Rousey, Matt Hughes, BJ Penn, Conor McGregor. So looking forward to that next week too. In this pack, Alexander Pantoja, Kim Dewadu, Tatiana Suarez, Dustin Poirier, Jack Hermanson, Joseph Benavidez, Rose Namajunas. Pulled a Rose auto a couple weeks ago on the Optographs. Santiago Ponzinibbio, Amanda Nunes, and Jennifer Maya. What we got left? We got 9 packs to go. Already pulled 2 autos out of there. So let's see if we can get something else numbered. Stephen Thompson, Colby Covington, Jose Aldo, John Jones, Joanna Jędrzejczyk, Ian Heinisch, the silver there, Gregor Gillespie, Zabit, Magomed Shapirov, Islam Makhachev, and Jermaine Durandamy. Arena Aldana, Valentina Shevchenko, Jorge Masvidal, Darren Till, Volkan Ozdemir, winner from last night, the 1985 style Corey Sandhagen, Stipe Miocic highlight reel, Zhang Wei Li, Macy Barber, Future Stars, Vicente Luque. Back to the beginning with Irene Aldana. It's the first combo autograph that I've pulled before, the Amanda Nunes and Lena Landsberg. So we'll go back and look at that later. Henry Cejudo, Roxanne Modafferi, Khalil Roundtree Jr., Conor McGregor. Decades next, Piotr Jan, Lauren Murphy, Jared Cannonier, Uriah Hall, Alir Latifi, Claudia Gadelha. Joanne Calderwood, otherwise known as JoJo Wood now, Augusto Sakai, Jillian Robertson, Alexis Davis, Stephen Thompson, Robert Whitaker, Mara Romero Barella, Curtis Blades, Yair Rodriguez, Israel Adesanya. Back to the beginning with Joe. Colby Covington, Jose Aldo, John Jones, Joanna Jędrzejczyk. Oh, look at this one. A lot different than today. 1985 style Sugar Sean O'Malley. Normal brown hair, no facial hair. This looks a lot different 3 years ago. Alexander Rakic, Future Stars, Gregor Gillespie, Zabit, Islam Makhachev, Jermaine Durandamy. So here we go. We've got 4 packs left. Daniel Cormier, Brian Ortega, Paulo Costa, Ketlin Vieira, Kron Gracie. Oh, we got 3 autos in this box. Christos Giagos, so not a big name there, but did kind of get a bonus auto out of this box. And next week when we open up the 2015 Chronicles, there's 2 autographs and 3 relics in every box on average. So, Christos Giagos. So 3 autographs in this one. And we'll go through all those at the end. So we'll go through the rest. Corey Anderson, Juliana Pena, Antonina Shevchenko, Dan Hooker. Back to the beginning with DC. Start a new stack over here. Don't want to knock those over. Here we go. Alexander Pantoja, Hakeem Dawodu, Tatiana Suarez, Dustin Poirier. Decades next, 2020, Johnny Walker. Fight coming up with Anthony Smith here in a few weeks, May 13th. It is site to be determined. Rose Namajunas, Santiago Ponzinibbio, Amanda Nunes, Jennifer Maia. She got a win last week. Kaikar, France. So 2 packs to go. Jessica I, Song Yadong, Israel Adesanya highlight reel, Donald Cowboy Cerrone, and look at that. Collector's plate 1 of 1. First 1 of 1 that I have pulled. It's a printing plate. Let's get Tyron Woodley out of there. Kaikar, France. The magenta printing plate, 1 of 1. That's pretty sweet. So the Kaikar France collectors out there, just pulled a 1 of 1 for you. It was a little bit harder to get in the metal printing plates, a little bit harder to get in the packs, or get in the penny sleeves and the top loaders. So there we go, there's your 1 of 1. Kaikar France. Could be worse. Not gonna complain about that. It had 1 pack to go. Still 1 to go. Here, let's go through this one. Tyron Woodley, Alexander Volkanovski, Thiago Santos, Walt Harris, Aspen Ladd. Back to the beginning with that Jessica I. Last pack here in this 2020 Topps Hobby Box. Joanne Wood, Augusto Sakai, Jillian Robertson, Alexis Davis, out of John Jones, insert, Mara Romero Barella, Curtis Blades, Yair Rodriguez, and Israel Adesanya. And the last one, Alexander Rakic. So there we go. There's that box of 2020 Topps UFC. So let's go back and look at the highlights from this one. Let's put the autos in the back. So pulled a little Amanda Nunes. It's a pretty good box for the champ. Daniel Cormier. Then the autographs, Christos Giagos. Got a dual auto with Amanda Nunes and Lena Landsberg. 5 of 25. Ryan Hall, 50 of 50. And that one was hand numbered. Hand numbered 50 of 50. And then the 1 of 1. The Kaikar France magenta printing plate. So I know that these aren't the as highly sought after 1 of 1s, but a 1 of 1 nonetheless. So if anybody collects Kaikar France, there's a 1 of 1 for you. So not a bad box to rip. Always fun to rip something. We'll hopefully get into some 2023 products here in the near future. So next week we will be looking at that box of 2015 at Topps Chronicles right here. We'll get into that, and then we'll see what we do going forward after that. We're looking at launch date for 2023 Prism on April 28th, so we may pick up a few more boxes like this in between, but we do this every Sunday right here on YouTube, and we want to thank all of you for joining us here for tonight's rip and to talk about what happened last night in San Antonio with Corey Sandhagen defeating Vera, and looking forward to previewing UFC 287 next week with the UFC taking the week off. And then we'll talk about that event April 8th in Miami, and then look ahead to April 15th in Kansas City. Got some events coming in. Hopefully a lot of stuff gets added to the schedule here next week, and we can talk about some new fights that are coming up. So once again, thanks for coming here to the UFC Fight Cards podcast presented by Orange Fire Media. I'm Russ Renault. If you see anything on the show that you like, just let me know. Just reach out to me, Russ at orange-fire.com. You can find us on Twitter at Fight Cards Russ, or at Orange Fire Media, or on Facebook, me, Russ Renault, or Orange Fire Media. You can find us at all those places. And for those of you listening, you've already found us on all those podcast platforms, on Apple, Spotify, everywhere you can find your podcast. You can find us there. If you enjoy watching the show, you want to listen to something on your way to work, then we just appreciate all the support that you can give. And like I said, anything that you buy is going to go back into buying cards. And if you subscribe, you're going to be entered into our giveaways for our 7 fighter lots with John Jones and Glover Teixeira, Robert Whitaker, Justin Gaethje, Jan Blachowicz, Holly Holm, and Misha Tate. We're going to give all those lots that I have that I showed earlier away. So go look at those again. And once we hit 100 subscribers, we'll be giving all those away. I really appreciate everybody dropping by here. And we'll do this again next week and every Sunday right here on YouTube. I'm Russ Renault, and I hope you have a great rest of your Sunday evening and a great week ahead. And we will see you next week right here on the UFC Fight Cards podcast. Good night, everybody.